Hey, what's up everybody? Monday, October 28th. It is Monday, so I will be working on the new issue of MMT Trader. Will be out later today. If you want to get a copy of that, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, and sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. Remember, I am the only one who has an applied approach to MMT. There are a lot of MMT academics out there talking about the concepts of MMT, but I have taken those concepts and applied them to trading and investing. And of course, the foundation or the key, the analysis and the understanding is great. You need to educate yourself, you need to inform yourself, but also you need the mental game, which is a lot of what I do. This is going to be a very, very active week. We have major events happening, so expect extreme volatility. I would say this week has the potential anyway for extreme volatility. We have a Bank of Canada meeting and interest rate decision coming up this week. Tomorrow, I believe, we have the Fed FOMC on Wednesday, where the market is expecting another interest rate cut, a 25 basis point interest rate cut down to 175 on the Fed funds rate. On Thursday, we have the Bank of Japan meeting. We're going to have the U.S. jobs report on Friday. We have third quarter preliminary estimate for U.S. GDP on Thursday, I believe, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But it's going to be a very volatile week, so you got to know what's going on. You got to know how to trade it. You got to know what to do, especially if you're in positions that are not working out for you. That's where the mental game comes in. Some interesting data coming out of the most recent banking data. That's the H.8 Fed release that comes out every Friday afternoon. Bank deposits are now growing at the fastest rate in 4 years. They're growing at a 6.3% year-over-year growth rate. All-time record high in bank deposits at 13.08 trillion. So, very interesting because, as you know, the Fed has been conducting operations to inject liquidity into the banking system. This is being done just to sustain or to support their policy rate, the Fed funds rate. I went all through the reasons why this became necessary, but some new information has come to light, one of which is the growth in bank deposits, which is rising now at the fastest pace in 4 years. The Fed has to supply enough reserves so that the 10% reserve ratio to deposit is maintained. The other thing that came to light is the fact that so far, we haven't even gone a month into the new fiscal year, but Treasury issuance of securities is up 208 billion over the same period last year. So that has been an enormous increase in Treasury securities that have been issued. And of course, the issuance of Treasury securities is nothing more than a reserve drain. So two things kind of conspiring here. Number one is this massive reserve drain going on by the ramped up issuance of Treasury securities. So the Fed has to compensate for that. And the rapid growth in bank deposits, which the Fed again has to ensure that there's enough reserves in the system for banks to be compliant with the regulatory constraints. So this is what's going on. It's totally normal. The Fed sets a policy rate which it uses as its primary tool to regulate the economy. Now we can go and argue how effective that is or how ineffective that is. Or ineffective that is. That's a completely different argument. But that's what they use. They have their policy rate, and they want to keep that, at whatever level they set. They can't allow it to jump all over the place because that would hinder whatever they are trying to do. So the addition of reserves is not some dire thing that has been, the way it's been portrayed out there in a lot of these blogs. Although it is kind of like what I said last week, that somebody was asleep at the wheel. Somebody over at the Fed wasn't paying attention to what was going on when they were reducing their balance sheet and allowing reserves to come down until the point where actually in September or late August it fell below the threshold of that 10% reserve ratio. And again, what I explained last week was that reserves are not distributed equally. You got the big banks that have most of them, and you even had Jamie Dimon last week or a couple of weeks ago saying, hey, you know what? I would have loved to lend out the reserves, but we just couldn't because we were under regulatory restrictions. We had to show that we had ample liquidity. Now, I don't know how true that is or not. It could very well be that Jamie Dimon offered to lend out the reserves well above the funds rate. He might have been part of the problem. But as you can see, because of the fact that reserves are not equally distributed, some banks have more power than others. Hey, what else is new, right? So there you have it. So all this stuff is tradable information if you understand it, if you know what's going on. Now there's something coming up. By the way, this week is not only jam-packed with events, as I mentioned. We got 3 central bank meetings, we got big data coming up and all that other stuff, but Friday is November 1st. That's a big day. And that's a big tradable day. Not going to get into it here on this video. If you want to understand how that is a big tradable day. I mean, you can make all the money for 1 year, easily 1 year of subscriptions to my service, just understanding what Friday and the following week is going to bring. But you got to go to pitbulleconomics.com and sign up for a 30-day free trial. It's all mental game, folks. It's all mental game. That's what it's all about. I know you don't like to hear that, but that's what it is. Every system works. Every system doesn't work. It's up to you to make it work. And most people, they think it's in the system. It's not in themselves. They're going to find some magical system that's going to carry them to success without any sort of discomfort or hardship or stress or whatever. Or they're going to take tiny little stop losses, but of course the next trade is going to be a big, huge profit, and they're going to have this, winning formula, and everything is going to be butterflies and rainbows, and that's not how it works. So I'll be busy for the rest of the day. I'll probably do another video later on when the report is out, but go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader or Zombie Trading. That's my daily Forex signal service. We front run the zombies because we know how they're going to behave. We take their money and we get out before they die. All right, everyone. Have a great day. See you later. Bye-bye.